Hello and welcome to the Ministry of Bridges, your YouTube Bridges channel. My name is Gabriel Neves and this is the Ministry of Bridges. Hello, welcome to the lesson 2 of the Bridge Creator tutorial for Tekla structures. Today is all about the alignment, bringing the alignment into Tekla structures and have Bridge Creator to read it. And then we can make our extrusions constrained to those alignments. I'm going first to show the LandXML file, reference the file, and have Bridge Creator using that LandXML file. Then I'm going to import 3D polycurves or polylines using the Grasshopper Link. I'm going to import the alignment using the Quadri Connector, seamless connection with Quadri software, and bringing the road alignment and some other features from the road project. And then after that, I'm going to show you some alternatives in case you don't have Quadri and so on. We have here 3 chapters, but in the end, we're going to have more than 3 ways to bring and manipulate that road alignment in order then to model our bridge. Let's jump into Tekla structures, reference models, add a model, and browse and try to find a LandXML file. I have 2, a highway and a road over highway. Let's bring the highway, and I have the model origin and the project base point already set up. Let me show you, if I insert a LandXML file without the base point, it will be very problematic then for you to manipulate this file. This is wrong. Change to the project base point and then modify. Let's bring the road over the highway, and in this case, select the base point first time and then fit work area, and you have access to visualize the LandXML file that we just referenced inside Tekla structures. Bridge Creator is not using this reference file because Bridge Creator needs to read that file. So we're going to do the same. The road over highway is going to be read by Bridge Creator, and then we have access to a couple of lines. Select the base point, and now you can preview those lines. I know that one is my center line, so my reference line, and if by chance I don't have the project base point, you cannot see the preview. So something is wrong. Always make sure if you need or not to load the project base point. So this is my reference line, so my center line, and then I have all the other lines, and I'll bring as many lines as necessary. Be aware that sometimes you have way too many lines, so don't select always every single line because then it's going to be overwhelming. Just bring the lines that you really need. So now I have those lines, and I will explain this later in a different lesson, but let's bring a cross section, and we see here that we have 662 meters is the length of this road, and we can preview the cross section. Let's edit, and I have the alignment proxy line, which is the road lines, just one, and then I have the outer face, which is the outer face of our concrete object in this case. So I select the first one and change to the center line, which is ML2, but I have more lines. So the best way to do it is copy as many as necessary, in this case 6 times, and then change it. And you'll see the lines just appearing in the screen, the preview area. Something is wrong here, and I'm doing that on purpose. And let's understand why this is wrong. Every single line appears on 0, 0. And the reason why is, if you look into the 0 station, those lines, they are not there. Therefore, we need to change the starting of the key section. Let's try to find more or less. We are not yet doing accurate decks, but I know this type of these lines are going to be available in around the 300 or 350. So let's select 300 for the key section, and now Bridge Creator can find those lines. Finding those lines, display the lines, and from this moment you can start constraining the outer face points to those lines. So let's do that. Select the point 6, and constrain to the one finishing 437, and now take the distance in x 0. So I'll do the same here, the 433, the du 0, and I have this impossible deck, but I'm going to keep it for now. Now I can preview, and I think, and I'm very confident this is going to be correct. Give the shape name and keep consistent. The name of the file should match the shape name. You can end up with dozens of Bridge Creator files, and this is the best way to know later on if you want to change, you know which file belongs to the shape. So I gave the start and end chainage, create, and now I have my first deck reading the LandXML file, constrained to some points, some lines of the road alignment, and this is the first way to do it. You have the LandXML file, and then you can extrude. This exercise here is just showing if I don't select every single line, those lines are, the lines I don't select are not available to then to constrain, to put it there and use as constraint. I'm going to delete. You saw that I unticked that line and the 45 is not appearing there. So if I want the 45, I need to select it, go back to the editor, and now I can see the line is there available. So copy once and change that to the 45. And now I have that line available for whatever need. Next is going to be import 3D polylines using Grasshopper Link. Let's close this. I'm going to press OK, and the OK is not a good option because OK is going to try to extrude again, and then you need to cancel. So if you want to close Bridge Creator, just cancel. Now I have Rhino opened, and I'm opening a file that contains already the highway and some roads 3D polylines. Now I'm loading Grasshopper and create a new file of Grasshopper. So Grasshopper is a plugin for Rhino, and if you want to know more about Grasshopper, just check the previous episodes available with this subject. I have some components like Tekla structures or Sophistic or Quadri already available, and I'm bringing a curve component, is still empty, and I'm bringing the construction object component for Tekla structures. Now I need to start editing these components. Building here a slider, because I want to control the class of the lines that are going to Tekla structures. And I want to solid lines, and this is ready to go to Tekla structures. But the component curve is still empty, and I'm going to copy a couple of times and trying to bring the lines independently. Select the component, right-click, multiple curves, select the curves, mid-mouse or enter, and now you have the lines inside Tekla structures very, very fast. So I'm going to do the same here with the other roads, like so. And now one more road there. Playing around with the class. And I'm now ready to work with Bridge Creator. Now I'm not going to browse for any lines or files. I'm going to pick lines, and I'm picking construction lines. We're going to have problems here, but bear with me. Let's see what's going to happen. Selecting all these lines, and every single line has the same name, and this is going to create problems. I like to do things sometimes wrong to teach this way, because sometimes this happens, you don't know why, and in this case, you're going to see it here. Next time, you know, you are not going to do this way. Model origin, because the lines are already near the 000, and I'm going to just select some lines, my center line, and I'm going to bring every single line to Bridge Creator. Everything looks all right, but we have a problem because every line has the same name. Just trying to find here a station to start with. So let's do it 250 to 400. Again, give it a name, different name, of course, test 2, save. Now I can edit the cross section, changing to 250. I like to give the key section chainage or station the same as the starting of the deck, of course. And here now you'll see the problem. Every single line is polycurve blue. So I'm going to copy a couple of times and I'm going to change to the other ones, because even having the same name, the hope is that the lines are going to be in the correct position, and they are not, because they have the same name, and Bridge Creator doesn't know what to do with that information. Don't do what I'm doing here. I'm deleting one by one. I could have chosen all and delete. So I have one single line there, and I still can extrude if I want to do that. If you think that changing the name here in Bridge Creator, like for instance this polycurve now changes to way, is still not visible, is on top of the other polycurve, because the background information is exactly the same. Even forcing the name change inside Bridge Creator is not a solution. Let's close this, and if you have one single polyline, you still can create the deck, but now you need to go and work the distance for the left and right hand side of the deck and the super elevation, and you are not constraining the deck to the lines, and I think you want that. One thing that we can do is to change the class of the lines, and that is the exercise I'm doing here. One line is blue, the center line, one line is red, the other line is green. So I'm going to bring just 3 lines, mid mouse button, and now I'll copy this blue line twice, and I'll change to the green polycurve and the red polycurve. Now I can do the same exercise as before. Constrain to the line, change the x value to 0 in this case, constrain to the line 0, and let me do it here better. This 2 is constrained to 0.1 with 0 in x, keeping 500 for the y direction. And now, every time you want to change the model, the object, select the object and then press create. Don't forget that. If you keep pressing create, you might have then a couple of similar objects on top of each other. So the first time is create, don't select anything, and then after that, keep the object selected every time you create in order to modify the object. Save. This way, it's done. Let's cancel that, and let me show you something else. If I load the file, we don't see the lines anymore. Bridge Creator cannot record information from polycurves. If you choose to work with polycurves, remember, keep those polycurves, and then you need to load those polycurves every time you want to change the object. All right? The previous time you saw with the LandXML file, the Bridge Creator remembers the lines that you choose, but not with polycurves. Okay? There are better workflows, and I'll be showing you that soon. Let me highlight the fact that I'm working in millimeters, right? So just taking here a distance between these 2 lines, 609,000 millimeters, so 108 meters, 0.6. And now if I go to Rhino, as expected, my road, it will be in meters. Keep that in mind, that usually the 3D lines that you get from roads, they are in meters and they are in real coordinates. In this case, I moved to 0, 0, and it should be in real coordinates. And I'll show you a way for when we have the road in real coordinates to move that to near 0, 0. So that is what I'm doing. This is a little bit reverse engineering, because I have already the road near 0, 0, and I moved these values. I'm just copying the north, easting, and the z value that I moved my road, because now I need to put the road back as it was and then move it to 0, 0 using Grasshopper. You don't need to do this. It's just for you to be aware that working with the road in real coordinates and the road in near 0, 0 could be very difficult, because the distances are so large that when we zoom extend, then it's very difficult to find that information. And this is what I'm doing. Is in Tekla structure is difficult, and any CAD software it is exactly the same, right? So when I zoom extend here, then it will be very difficult to find both roads, the original coordinates and the 0, 0. Due to the experience, many years working with AutoCAD, I have a way, and that is the way I'm sharing here today. And what I'm going to do is a line, and my line goes from 0, 0, 0 to near that road. So, and I know the coordinate because I copy that from the project base point, and now I know, just zooming out and zooming in along this line, I know the original is in one side of the line, and the other side is the one I'm going to work with Tekla structures. So I moved my road to the correct coordinates. Let's bring the line by copying again and setting up that line. So now that line is in Tekla structures, and now I can find my original coordinates road. Without this, it will be very, very difficult. You might select and zoom to the object, but then every time you need to go there, it's a pain. It's a pain. So, and usually we don't want any information so far away from 0, 0. So this is just as a demo for you to see how I apply the project base point in CAD before I move the information into Tekla structures. So I have in meters, my project base point, because my road is in meters, and I prepare two panels with that information. Now I'm going to use the box move to point. So point A is my base point in meters, point B is my 0, 0, 0, and now my objects, because I put everything inside that curved, multiple curves. So now in Rhino, if I zoom near 0, 0, I have my road again in the right place, already using the project base point. I think it's much better workflow. In CAD, move using the project base point, that you still keep it inside Tekla structures for later use, and then move the lines into Tekla structures. These are the lines that, in principle, you're going to work with. And then you don't need the large diagonal line that I have here or the original coordinate information. So you can delete that information. I'm just playing around with these boxes, and cleaning the script is always very useful, because later on you're going to forget what you did, or if any colleague is accessing the script, it will be very easy to understand. So now it's much clear that my road comes from the original coordinates, moved, and now let's look into the Quadri. Import alignment using Quadri Connector. I have Quadri open, and I'm going to open one of the projects that I have access. Inside Quadri, which is a common data environment agnostic platform, object-based, not file-based, I have already a task that I've created to connect with Tekla structures. That task will contain information like feature lines, hard rock, surfaces, and so on. This is the task that I named Tekla Structures Bridge. I have another task for Grasshopper that I will use later on. Let me show you, if I see in 3D this one, it was a bridge that I've created in Tekla Structures. I used the connector to send it to Quadri, all right? But it will be on a different episode. So for now, I'm just going to show you a task, and inside that task that connects with Tekla Structures, I have all that information here you see on the top, but much more it's available. This usually it's created by the road designer, and here showing much cleaner, just with lines, road lines task. This one will be later on is an alternative. In Tekla Structures, I opened the Quadri Connector, and then because Quadri is opened, I have access to two tasks, the bridge and the alternative. I'm going to select Tekla Structures Bridge, and this is all the information I have available. I need the project base point. Remember always that, and now I can import everything in one go. If I do that, could take a couple of minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. All depends the quantity of information that Quadri Connector is bringing over to Tekla Structures. And you can see here the surface, the asphalt, the road lines, the slope, the cut, and so on. This is a fast way, but for me it's the wrong way, because we don't want all this information in the same phase of Tekla structures. I've created already some phases with the names to match what I'm going to import, and now I'm going to import the Quadri features to the correct phases. This way, while I'm modeling, I can filter out some information, and when I'm creating drawings, I'll do exactly the same, because lots of information you don't want to see in the drawing, right? But maybe it's useful while you're modeling the foundations, for instance. That is exactly what I'm doing here. The display chainage works as in Bridge Creator. You need to select the linear element and click display chainage. And now what I'm going to do is put the current phase to the matching the objects I'm going to import, and keep doing that n time. So here, just the stake outstring top level. Now I'm going to select a different one, the ditch, import, and remember, every time you redraw, you're going to lose the displayed chainage or stations. So if you need it, you need to select linear element and display chainage again. We can do the same with Bridge Creator, that I will show you later on. So all this exercise here is to have a clean model. I'm a truly believer, the same way when we were doing drawings by hand, we wanted the drawings, a clean drawing. In CAD, exactly the same thing. In 3D modeling, it's not different. We want the information to be organized and clean in a way that you can have lots of information inside a 3D model, but if it is organized, it's very easy then to keep working on it without being overwhelming, because you can imagine you don't want to model your bridge with all this information displayed. So you want to have this in correct phases and then hide and filter out, and this is exactly what I'm doing here. I need the phase 1 because it's where I have my alignment, and inside the phase 1 I have some other information, but it's good enough to work with Bridge Creator. Let's do the same. In this case, we're going to pick lines, and these lines are feature lines, so Bridge Creator feature lines, and they contain already information. And this is the difference between the Bridge Creator feature lines and the Tekla structures polycurve. These lines are Tekla items, and those items, they contain information. You see the name, the length, and you have the stations and so on. So we pick those lines, and now we bring the section. All these processes exactly the same. I'm here placing the start end station. I had already a station added already a station to the key section. Give it a name, save, and now if I load again, test 3. Test 2, we don't have it because it's the polycurve, but test 3, because it is Bridge Creator feature lines, Bridge Creator retains that information. It is a much better workflow is to work with Bridge Creator feature lines, and they are created by Bridge Creator or when we import from Quadri. Here is the same thing. Select the alignment proxy line, copy as many times as necessary, replace by the correct information, and now start drafting your cross-section by constraining usually the top deck to your road, and then all the other points with different rules, of course. Now we should be able to see our cross-section is there. We can preview, save, and I can create. So now I have a deck in, again, a different way to use the road alignment with Bridge Creator, using Quadri Connector, bringing all the information in Bridge Creator, selecting those lines, and then just do our job. Let me show you a different way on top of these 3. Because Quadri has connectors for Grasshopper as well, Tekla structures, I've created a task for Grasshopper and I placed there an alignment. So we have Quadri Components, the same way we have Tekla Components, and here the Quadri Design Task component that I just need to enable. As soon as I enable, you can see already the alignment near the 000. Let me show a little bit of the code. We have the Quadri Task and then the Quadri Feature Selector. That gives us access to all the information that I previously choose on that Quadri task, like surfaces, lines, alignments, and so on. So we can have in the entire project here if we wish. In order then to filter out and just bring the lines we want, it's good to know, in this case I choose to filter by the ID of the line. Then I have here then a dispatch that's going to give me panel the name, just to make sure this is the center line I want to use. And then I use a Quadri component alignment selector in order to have the points. And from those points, I connect with the interpolate curve, and I have then my alignment. I move then the project base point the same way I've shown before, and now I'm ready to go to Tekla structures. And this part of the code you already know. So you don't need to be an expert to do this workflow. Even if you don't model using Grasshopper, everyone can open Rhino, load Grasshopper, and create and put half a dozen boxes with information and send that. Now open Bridge Creator and start working with this polycurve. But I don't want to work with polycurves. I go to the tab More. I don't need to load anything. And I'm going to pick that line, mid-mouse button. And now, before I convert this line into a Tekla, Bridge Creator feature line, I change the name. I give it my specific name, model origin, and I convert the line. So now this is a Bridge Creator feature line, and we know already the advantage of using those lines instead of using the polycurve. Then go to the tab Manage, select Draw Chainage on Alignment, select the feature line, mid-mouse button, and you have the chainage displayed. The same way the Quadri Connector, Bridge Creator can display the stations for you. What about if you don't have Quadri? Let's go to Speckle. If you log into Speckle and have access to Speckle and download and install the Speckle connectors, do you remember that with Quadri, we need to have Quadri open in order to bring all that information? The same thing I'm doing here with a different line, a different project. What I'm doing is, in the end of this workflow, when I have the alignment, I'm going to connect with the Speckle database to my account, give it a name, and then you send that information to Speckle. Then you get an ID, and that ID is unique, connected with your database, of course. Now, simulating the situation where I don't have Quadri, or I cannot open Quadri for some reason, I can still bring that information with a clean script. I'm connecting with Speckle and receiving that information to Grasshopper. And now from Grasshopper, we can send it to Tekla structures. And it is exactly the same line. Again, don't feel overwhelmed. It's just to show another alternative. If you don't have Quadri yet, you can or even internalize the alignment inside Grasshopper and share that with a colleague, or use Speckle to pass the information. So here I'm just playing around with the positioning of the road alignment, and remember that I use the project base point always when I'm doing my script. I don't move anything inside Tekla structures when the stuff comes from Grasshopper. Let's see what the tab More can do for us. Open Bridge Creator, you don't need to load anything. Go to the tab More. If you have polycurves, select Pick, and now just go to the lines you want to convert, select the line, mid-mouse button. I advise you to change the name before you start converting. Here, highway, center line, and let's do the same for the top road. Pick the line. You can pick more than one line at the same time. So in this case, let's bring every single line. If then you get confused, you always can use the preview and just try to give some names. Usually these names, they follow a standard, but here I'm going to call it LV center line, and now I need to go to the lines left and right, or minus something or plus something is usually that kind of standard. And now I can select every single line and hit convert. So now I have Bridge Creator feature lines, and I don't need the construction lines. I'm going to delete. Again, since I have already my feature line, I don't need the construction line. I'm going to delete it. let's see what Bridge Creator can do now here. If I go to resources and bring the LandXML file, I have all these lines. So let's see, where is this? I need the project base point. Do you see? Without that, you cannot see it. So it's over there. Project base point. You can select that line and now convert it. So now you can use the Bridge Creator feature line to work with instead of LandXML. I don't see advantage of doing this, honestly. If we are using a LandXML file, it's better to keep using the LandXML file. But for the polycurves, I think it's a very good workflow. Not for LandXML files, but if you want, you can do and convert into these lines. Because you can then put these lines into a phase and even hide that phase. Let's do here something interesting. This one here will display the name of the line and the length of the line, or you select get all, and every single feature line is going to appear there as a list. Is the only thing this table does is as a display of the information. Nothing else. You cannot do anything else with this table here. More, manage, this one, and now draw chainage on alignment. We have seen this before. Let's do it again. Select, and then mid mouse button, and you have the stations displayed. So you can do that with any line that you wish. Now let's do the same for the highway. It's a very short highway anyway, but for demo purposes was okay. And then get chainage from point. So let's put this in plan view. Get chainage from point. Pick on alignment. I need the intersection between my alignment and that line. Intersection there. Now pick alignment. The top one is where I want my, and then you have zoom out or change the layout point, but the zoom out is useful sometimes. So now I have a layout point with information. There we have the station for the intersection that I've just selected. Very useful. And then the layout point will retain that information that even later you can use that inside the drawing. For visualization, you can change the layout point, but I think it's very useful for the layout point to retain the station information. Let's do the intersection because this is usually what we do. So zoom, unticked, get the chainage from point, intersection, and then I selected the highway alignment. So now I want to do the same for the top road. I want the alignment, the station for both roads, the intersection for both roads, and I need to select a different, the different alignment. So we have the bottom one, 6 to 9 something, and then the top one, 311, or if I can read, 311. I think this is very, very useful. We can get a different way, which is ask Bridge Creator to place one layout point into a certain station. So select the alignment, and now I have my 322.22 layout point on that station. And then we have XYZ, as you can see there on the result, that we can copy paste into the attributes of that layout point. So let's do a different one, but now with a zoom. And that is exactly 371.111. Very useful. And here again, the XYZ that you might want to copy paste into the any available attribute inside the layout point, as I said. With alignment, pick. We have now model origin because we moved this before. And here we go again with the same process. So today I'm not explaining the key sections area, but you've seen already that is not difficult to, at least the basics, to do that. So this one will be the test 4. I want to keep this for later on. And now I'm going to change that to the center line. Everything looks all right. And I have here a deck. But I didn't constrain to the other lines. So just to the center line. Length of the line, save. If I load again the test 4, because I'm working with Bridge Creator feature lines, they are loaded. And I still can add extra lines, as you can see here. I just want 2 in this case, just to show you that we don't need to bring every single line. We just bring the lines that we need, copy twice, the alignment proxy, change the settings. They will be made available if those lines are there for Bridge Creator to find it. And then from that moment, we start working with the constraints. So is what I'm doing again, my Impossible deck, select the object and modify using the button Create. Very cool stuff, I think. Always save the files. And now we have seen the pick, get all, the tools, get chainage from point, get point from chainage, draw chainage on alignment, and then zoom to the result, create the layout point for inquiring or later use. The next lesson is we're going to start with the key section. So now that we have the basics of Bridge Creator, the next lesson will be all about manipulating the key section. That key section chapter probably is going to be divided in 3 or 4 lessons. Let's see how long. I don't want to do episodes longer than 30 minutes. So let's see how many are necessary to cover all that. Thanks for watching, and I hope this is useful. And please keep practicing, and see you next week. Bye for now. I appreciate if you leave a comment, like, and support your Ministry of Bridges channel by clicking the subscribe button. It's all for now, Bridge Moguls. See you in the next episode, and have a Bridge Creator Day.